Hey, what's up, rock stars? It's Rox, and I am coming to you today with a Let's Talk About It. So, Let's Talk About It are videos that I do when I know that it is probably going to be flagged and demonetized by YouTube. It's usually subjects that I talk about that have been deemed advertiser unfriendly. No sense in the whole damn top of the blogs video being flagged and demonetized. So, I separate the subjects out because it's still something that needs to be talked about. And then we put top of the blogs up, we just move on with our lives accordingly. So today I wanted to talk about a few things. First would be the tragedy in Texas. Okay, you guys already know there was another mass shooting in Texas, rural Texas. Not quite sure what the city is. I did not write it down. I'm sorry, you guys. But someone, 26-year-old gunman by the name of Devin Kelley, walked into First Baptist Church with an assault rifle, unloaded. They're not quite sure exactly how many, but somewhere around 400 rounds within 7 minutes, and killed 26 people, injured many others. That death toll may rise because they're saying that there were others that were seriously injured that are in ICU and may or may not make it. But yeah, you guys, here we go again. Another mass shooting. I'm going to always say in these circumstances that there needs to be some sort of gun control law. You guys did open my eyes to the fact that it's very difficult to even control guns to mentally ill people, okay? Because some people have been misdiagnosed. Some people have not been diagnosed. There are people who might have slight issues but are still responsible enough to have. I guess there's all these gray areas within gun control laws, and I guess that's why it's so difficult. But I'm just going to always think that nobody needs an assault rifle. I don't know why anybody, sane or mentally ill, would want to have something that can create so much devastation and death in such a quick time. Okay, we've talked about this since Las Vegas, and we've talked about it when they had the killings in, what was that, in Orlando. The school shootings, shootings at the movie theaters. We go over this over and over and over again. It doesn't seem to make any differences, any changes. Now, of course, your president, he said this is a human issue, not a gun control issue, because Devin guy had mental issues. He, back in 2012, had then beat up his wife and his baby, and he was supposed to be added to the, not being able to buy a gun list, but had fallen through the cracks and had not been added. Okay, he also had other mental issues, had been in a psychiatric hospital, had threatened to kill people. Even in this case, he was threatening to kill his ex-wife's family, hence the shooting. But, I just don't even know what else to say, because they seem to be happening. Nothing happens about these gun laws, and it just gets more and more frustrating. So prayers up for those people in Texas, but prayers up for everybody, because when these type of tragedies happen, it just makes you feel some sort of way about your own safety and going to large places, large open public places. Now you got to worry about going to church. This is going to step up security, and this is going to this is really going to change the way a lot of people move in their lives as these incidents keep getting more and more frequent. That gun control issue is not as simple as I used to think that it was. Yet and still, assault rifles, I don't believe anybody should be able to have access to them. So prayers up to the whole state of Texas. Y'all been going through it. Hopefully this Devin, well, he's dead now. He killed himself after, he was pursued by people that were at the church or had been in the area and had seen him trying to get away. He ended up shooting himself the coward's way out. But usually when people do these type of things, they already have it in their minds that they're probably going to die at the end of this, and I guess their whole thing is going to take out as many people as they can in the process. So terrible. I also wanted to say I had made a video about the New York, the tragedy in New York, where the guy had driven down the bike path and ran everybody down and killed all the people and was planning on hitting up the Brooklyn Bridge. This happened on Halloween. I had made a video about it and edited it and everything, and I didn't like it. Something was wrong with it. It just didn't feel right. So I didn't do the video. I mean, I didn't post the video. However, you know, my heart is out there for my New York rock stars as well. Oh, nobody should have to go through life, you know, worried about these type of things. So that is the biggest devastation, the latest devastation, I should say, in the United States, where yet again, terrorism, whether you want to call it domestic terrorism or what, you know, it has reared its ugly head. So prayers up to everybody involved in both of those situations. Now, we're going to try to get a little political, this Donna Brazile thing. You guys, I have a confession to make. I have really lately kept my head in the sand. You know how the ostriches just keep their heads buried? I have been that way when it's coming to politics. I have not been watching the news. I have not been watching CNN. I have been scrolling right by anything that comes up on my social media. I just have not wanted to be bothered. It probably is the irresponsible way to go about your adult life, but it's just so much. And it's so overwhelming. And every day is something. It's just a reminder that there's so much corruption and just so much, you know, bad. It causes you to lose faith in the political system and in our government. It's just so many bad things happening right now. This has been the most chaotic, I say it all the time, but this has been the most chaotic year that I can even remember here in the United States. It's just unreal. And I can't deal. And I'm not even ashamed to say it, you know. But this Donna Brazile thing is such a big story. I was like, Roxanne, there's no way you're going to be able to avoid this. So we gonna try it. Okay. Now, I honestly don't know much about this Donna Brazile thing. I knew that Donna Brazile was the ousted DNC chairman, kind of made her look like she was sort of like the scapegoat and made her look bad. We had heard some shit about, you know, she had helped the Hillary Rodham Clinton campaign, and I didn't know the particulars about it, but I remember when she had got kicked off and, you know, was off of CNN, and I mean, we had said so many wonderful, great things about Donna Brazile, and then here she was in the middle of that little scandal. That scandal died away pretty quickly, but I guess Donna Brazile had it in her mind that, you know, just because, you know, you don't see her right then and there, okay, baby, just hold on to your seats. I'm going to blow this shit out the water, and I am going to make money off of it at the same time. So Donna Brazile has written a book. I didn't even write down the name of the book. Okay, she wrote a book. I'm going to put it on the screen here. It came out on Tuesday, and it has blown the DNC and the Democratic Party wide open and kind of made you lose even more faith, if you had any anyway, in your party. Now, your party meaning those of you guys who were Democrats out there. So yesterday on Twitter, I asked, you know, I'm trying to make sense out of something that I have not been following. So maybe somebody out there could help me. Just explain it to me a little bit better so that when I do this video, I don't get up here and be doing a whole bunch of ums and uhs and trying to put shit together, and then y'all be down in the comments telling me I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about and calling me ignorant and saying, you know, Roxanne, you need to do your research and all of that. So there was a subscriber, or somebody, I don't know if they're a subscriber, but they're a follower of me on Twitter, and her name was, and she is a political analyst, and she is also a lawyer. She actually answered my tweets and gave me a good quick rundown of what exactly people were saying so that it would make some sense. So I am actually going to read her tweets to you guys so that, you know, you guys will know what the gist is of what Ms. Donna Brazile is saying in her book. So the first tweet to my answer, which was, what is Donna Brazile saying exactly? She's saying the DNC started coordinating with the Hillary campaign, okay, and that would be Hillary for America, a lot earlier than was ethical. She goes on to say, Hillary for America was getting money from the Hillary Victory Fund, which was the 50-state apparatus, which is a tool that was used to do legal joint fundraising. And that ethically, that level of coordination between the Hillary for America and Hillary Victory Fund shouldn't have occurred until after the convention, which is the official end of the primary. She goes goes on to say that it does get a little dirty. She tried this same approach in 2007, but Obama winning Iowa caucuses early January 2008 slowed the mess down. Had Bernie started organizing black and brown folks early on, he could have slowed that down as well. And that by the time that Bernie started gaining traction, he was in a delegate hole too steep to climb out of. And I guess Hillary used that to justify the DNC and Hillary for America staffs to start coordinating early. So someone else stepped in and said, I sort of figured they promised Hillary in 2008 to support her if she stepped aside during Obama's rise, so they were obligated to do it after his presidency was over, to which said, yeah, she got Secretary of State, and they had actually expected Joe Biden to run for presidency. His son got killed. I mean, his son died, and so that kind of cut Joe Biden out of the race. But Hillary Clinton was pissed because Obama did not endorse her, and they kind of felt like, I guess, Barack Obama was backpedaling, or, you know, not holding up to his end of the bargain. Then we had someone else chime in, and they said that the DNC was in debt $24 million. Hillary essentially would only decrease the debt if she had control over the DNC. By having that control, she guaranteed herself the Democratic nomination, stripping Bernie from the ability to even compete for the nomination of Democrats. So then I asked, was it illegal or was it just unethical and unethical? And they said, yeah, it was not illegal, but it was highly unethical. Okay, so that was, you know, and I guess while I'm talking about it, it starts to make a little bit more sense to me. So Donna Brazile is blowing everybody out the water and just telling them, you know, how basically Hillary was controlling the DNC, and Donna had her hand in a lot of that as well. I'm not quite sure in the book if Donna is admitting to her part in that, or if she's trying to make it seem that she had to do it, that she was forced to do it. Did she do it willingly? I'm not quite sure how any of that goes. I do intend on buying the book though. So that's pretty much it. You guys can still get into the comments though, and you know, talk more in depth about what we were talking about there, because I'm sure there's a whole lot more to it, and many of you guys are way more educated when it comes to these things. And like I said, I really have not been paying attention. But while we're talking about politics and what's been going on in our government, let's talk about some of the better things. The vote just this past Tuesday, there were a lot of, there were some victories, definitely for the what may, you know, what some may have called the disenfranchised and the underrepresented. So it was historical wins for women, historical wins for minorities, and many of those that are in the LGBTQ community. Okay, so I wrote down everything. Well, I keep on saying wrote. I put it in my phone. So I'm going to go down the list, you guys. The most notable was Danica Roem, R-O-E-M, okay, who was the first openly transgender candidate to win a state house seat anywhere in the United States. She also beat out Republican Robert Marshall, and that was a big win because Republican Robert Marshall was very, very much against the LGBTQ community, and he was the one that voted against the bathroom laws and all of that. That was a big win. We also had a Vietnamese refugee elected to the House of Delegates. That also was in Virginia, I believe. There's an openly trans woman, Andrea Jenkins, elected to the Minneapolis City Council. St. Paul got its first black mayor. In New Jersey, they got a Sikh American mayor. Seattle had its first female and lesbian mayor. Charlotte, North Carolina got a first female black mayor. Even here in Atlanta, there's going to be a runoff between two females. One is Keisha Lance Bottoms, and the other one is Mary Norwood, I believe is her name. Why am I drawing a blank? Didn't put it down in my notes. But the list goes on and on and on. It's great news that people haven't let, or maybe even did let, the Trump debacle light a fire under our asses and decide that we need to get out and we need to be represented and we need to vote. People did show out. Democratic Party, okay, even with all of the shit I just told you guys about, people did get out and vote. Even independents, I mean, people that were not claiming parties. I mean, folks did show up and show out on Tuesday. So that is a good thing. So maybe a good thing, maybe this little teeny weeny good thing did come out of the Trump debacle, and is letting people know that ain't no differences, no change is going to be made until folks get out there and do their due diligence and make their voices heard. People like to say that voting does not make a difference, and when you start to hear about, you know, the back alley, backhanded political mudslinging and fighting that goes on behind the scenes, you know, kind of makes you lose a little bit hope. But at the local level, at least, we know that some changes could be made, and it does affect eventually on a larger level. So those are our serious issues today, you guys. And like I said, I wanted to separate them out, but I feel like I have a responsibility sometimes. So I can't just keep on ignoring these things, because then you guys be like, Roxanne, you know, you can't just keep talking about the bullshit, which is true. And I realize it. So that's why we separated it out and we talked about it. And that's why we call this video Let's Talk About It, because we gonna talk about it. Okay, so y'all get down in them comments and leave your you know, leave whatever you have to say about anything that I've talked about. I'm about to get on to Top of the Blogs, so you guys look for that later. And make sure you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. I plan on doing the same. Till next time, rock stars. Bye.